Welcome along to our big match build-up show as Saints prepare for their first away game of the season, and as it was at the end of last season, a trip to Everton. So coming up on this week's episode, Nick is back as we preview our trip to Merseyside, and he gives us some top tips on away pubs.
If you're going by coach, there's plenty of pubs towards Anfield. You know, a lot of people go and use the Arkles, which is the pub sort of designated away pub by Anfield. That's a 10-minute walk across the park. There's pubs like the Abbey. Further you go away from the ground, there's lots of pubs. And
I also get the chance to speak to Ped from the Everton Fan Channel, Toffee TV, and he tells us all about how he upset big Sam Allardyce at Sky Sports on deadline day.
Go in, and when we went in, as soon as we walked in the door, it was on a break, and Allardyce clocked us straight away. He's seen us. I had the same top on I've got now, so you could see the pink straight away. And he clocked us, and he looked directly at us, and you could tell he wasn't happy. So we've done our job. At the end of the day, we've done our job.
This episode is also available to download in the links in the description, available on our Anchor dashboard on various different platforms if you want to listen to us on the go. Do let us know where you're watching from or listening, and find out how you can receive a £10 free gift courtesy of our partners Southampton Away Travel if you travel to Everton with them this weekend. So feel free to comment below, and let's get on with the show. Welcome along to our big match preview part of the show, and this episode is brought to you in association with Southampton Away Travel, the family-run business giving Saints fans an alternative way of travel to Saints away games. They cater for all abilities and inclusive with on-board entertainment, free food and drink complimentary with your travel, very friendly stewards, 4G Wi-Fi, and for this week only, if you sign up to travel with Everton this week, you will receive a free gift worth up to £10. Now, this season has even more pick-up points across the Dorset, Hampshire and West Berkshire area. Coach information and all the payment details are available in the website in the description. So Nick is back after going missing for a while. But here to take a look ahead to our trip to the blue half of Merseyside this weekend, our first away game of the season. But before we get there, a quick look back at the weekend's action, Nick. So a 0-0 draw, Burnley on the opening day. Progressive, encouraging at times for Saints, but what was the verdict?
Well, the verdict is one of cautious optimism. I mean, I think we hoped that Burnley would come here a bit jaded from their trip to Turkey, but in reality, they came here as a side that had 3 competitive games, and that had, sharpened their edge a little bit more than we had with, a number of sort of multi-changes in friendlies. Took us a bit of time to get going. Mark Hughes, I think, made a couple of wrong selections in the starting lineup, but rectified them. And, I thought the last 30 minutes or so, they were hanging on a bit, Burnley. So, there's cause for optimism. We lost that game last year. We got a point out of it this, so we're in the scale of things ahead of last year by 1 point. So we've just got to build on it. No one can moan that it wasn't entertaining. The new signings look good. What we need now is the likes of Wesley Hope, Nathan Redmond, Mario Lemina, all of whom have had their critics over the last year or so, to just step up the plate a little bit more and show us what they can really do. And I think on Sunday they did do that.
Obviously, Burnley, always a well-organised side, well-oiled, well-drilled team. Sean Dyche gets his players organised like that. But, impressive debut by Vestergaard. And I think it was a bit unfair on some of the critics about Nathan Redmond. I thought Nathan Redmond was perhaps one of our better performers on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think some people, unfortunately, on social media have a preconception about a player, and they find it hard to change that preconception. I saw plenty of people on social media going, "Oh, Nathan Redmond was crap. He should have come off. Should have been him to come off." Having said that, I saw plenty of people saying, "I'm not a big fan of Redmond, but I thought he was man of the match." And I think that will change. People's preconceptions need to change a little bit. And I said in my pre-match right up on the uglyInside.net. We need to watch this game without prejudice. We've got to forget all that's gone on over the last year, 2 years, and just make it a clean sheet. We've got away with last season a little bit. We're still in the Premier League. All of the areas that were concerns for most last year, which were manager, goalkeeper, central defender, and lack of a striker, have now been addressed. So we've got to give the team a chance. It's no use judging them after 1 game, 2 games, 3 games. Let's see where we are in sort of 6 games' time.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fresh start, a new beginning for a lot of the players, and we saw a much better progressive Saints side when we switched to a 4-4-2. I think I have to say Cedric, for me, looked a bit lost, perhaps not quite up to match sharpness just yet, and it was a real gamble for me to throw him in straight away.
Yeah, I think the problem was, the first half especially, Burnley seemed to target our right-hand side. If you looked at their midfield, they were always looking to pass down into their left, our right. And I think what you had was Jack Stevens didn't get to grip with being the right-sided midfield. He was never sure whether he should be in the middle or out wide. And Cedric was never sure whether he should be further up the field or back in his more traditional right-back role. So I don't think that helped a lot, really, that we had 2 players there really a little bit unsure how to play it. So, yeah, a little bit disappointing. But managers make mistakes. Football's like a game of chess. You've got to try a few different moves every now and then. Yeah,
4-4-2 seemed like it did work, and it goes back to the old bingo catchphrase like we had last season. Play 2 up top. Charlie Austin and Ings played together for at least sort of 10-15 minutes before Austin went off for Gabbiadini.
2 up top is again a popular preconception, but it's not just about playing 2 up top. It's about how the rest of the players are performing behind you. Austin is perhaps best suited to be playing a lone striker role in the fact that he's the biggest, strongest, etc. But he's not the fastest. So ultimately, it didn't work. We've got 2 fullbacks who were playing as the wide players, and I think whereas Ryan Bertrand could be described as a wing back, I don't think Cedric is. He's an overlapping fullback, for want of a better word. We got a few things wrong, but we dug in. There were a lot of plus points. And when you look at the quality we had on the bench who didn't get on the pitch, people like Pierre Højbjerg, Emil Højbjerg, James Ward-Prowse, and the quality of people who couldn't even get on the bench, people like Yoshida, Shane Long, Stephen Davis, Fraser Forster, and even Josh Sims, 4 of whom this time last year were considered first-choice players.
Yeah, we've got a lot of strength and depth at the moment. I want to quickly go back to a point that I picked up when I was watching Match That Day on Sunday night. Jermaine Genius is the king of stating the obvious. He said Burnley looks sharper. You could tell they've had 3 extra games. Well, we could have told you down the pub 6 hours ago.
Yeah, absolutely. Football pundits come out with cliches, for want of a better word. I'm not over the moon about the fact that they use cliches all the time, but what can you say?
Well, it's a game of 2 halves, and let's move on to the second half of this preview part.
Absolutely.
Everton then, first away game of the season. Expectations from Everton. They had a 2-2 draw against big spending Wolves, again themselves big spenders.
Well, expectations of Saints travelling to Everton are absolutely zero. I first watched us at Everton in 1978 in a 0-0 draw. And little did I know, I'd never see a better result as such. Ironically, I think the only 2 times we've won at Everton since, I wasn't there. I nearly saw my first Everton win last season. I was within a minute of injury time of seeing it or whatever. But I must have been to watch Saints at Everton, 20 times. And I've never seen us win there. We haven't won there for 20 years. So the only expectation I've got is that we're 1 game nearer winning there. Again, Everton have signed a lot of players, but they haven't signed anyone of true, proven quality. And the same as Wolves, I think. They're spending a lot of money is not buying quality players. So it'll be interesting to see how Everton do. I haven't seen any of the Wolves Everton game one reason or another, even on Match of the Day. So I can't really comment on how they played. But both sides were sort of fancied, and both sides drew. So
yeah, it was a very open game, let's say, on Saturday night. You know, a couple of good goals from the record signing Richarlison, 50 million, and you know, we could expect to see a couple of new additions in their starting 11. And as you say, 21 years now since we won at Goodison Park.
Yeah, I mean, Richarlison, or however it's pronounced, you know, is probably symptomatic of the players Everton are signing. You know, he scored twice on Saturday, and that's his first goal since last November, despite playing literally every game for Watford. You know, is he a player that is worth £50 million when you take on the add-ons? I don't know. I mean, statistics tell us not. And Everton last season had similar issues where they spent a lot of money on people like Klaassen, Sigurdsson, and big signings like Wayne Rooney as such, and ultimately they didn't perform for them. Maybe, you know, if we're looking for plus points or optimism, Everton are going to be a little bit like us against Burnley. They're going to be a bit of an experimental side. They've lost Jagielka through suspension now. Are they going to be as well honed as they would be if we met them in another month's time? I don't know. I mean, Everton, like last season, have got the potential to be 7th, and they've got the potential to be 17th.
Yeah, a big contrast in figures for money spent as well between us and them. So, wrap up our Everton thoughts and score predictions. What are we thinking?
History tells me that at best it will be a draw. My heart, I don't know which way around this is. My heart tells me we're going to win. My head tells me we're going to lose. So I really don't know. I mean, 1-0 to us, 1-1, 2-1 to them. It could be either. It's just a game, literally more chance of a defeat than anything else.
And one thing we're hoping for is a little bit of justice from that 97th minute sucker punch last season.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Everton's fault. I mean, in the fact that, you know, we didn't have to tamely knock the ball 30 yards up the line to them. And if it's the referee, I don't blame Everton. Every Everton fan I spoke to after the game was gutted that they'd scored. We've just got to go back and we just got to go back and get it. I mean, and as I say, it's a hard one to call. Both sides have got players who are virtually unknown. You know, no one had really had a Yannick Vestergaard or Mohamed El Yunusi. You know, it could go either way. It's difficult to call it. If I get a 66% chance we'll lose, 33% chance we'll draw, and a 1% chance we'll win based on history.
I'm not liking those odds. But one final thought then, Nick. Merseyside, Liverpool have to offer a lot of different pubs, and you'll be writing up your away guides in the next few days. So what's your top tips on away pubs then for match day?
Top tips, if you're going by coach, there's plenty of pubs towards Anfield. You know, a lot of people go and use the Arkles, which is the pub sort of designated away pub by Anfield. That's a 10-minute walk across the park. There's pubs like the Abbey. In the main, the pubs behind Everton's main stand, and we stand opposite where we are, in the little road, and the roads behind that aren't the most welcoming. So my man, as long as you're not sort of, further you go away from the ground, there's lots of pubs, lots of welcome away fans. If you go in there looking to talk football, have fun, and you'll be welcomed with open arms. If you go there singing songs about on the dole and bin dippers and that, you can expect all you get.
So there were our thoughts as we took a look ahead to Everton this weekend and a brief look back at Burnley at last weekend's action. You can go ahead and check out the Saints FC podcast for a longer analysis, a longer review at last weekend's action. All the download links are available in the description below. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can download from iTunes in the card above my head to go there. But do let us know your predictions, your scorelines as we take a trip to Everton. But now's the chance to get onto my conversation with Ped from Toffee TV, and you can find out what to expect from big spending Everton once again, and if the pressure could well be on again this summer to deliver some challenging football, and find out his predictions for this week's match. So welcome along to our opposition view part of the show, a chance where we get to understand exactly what to expect from this weekend's opponent. Saints travel to Everton for their first away game of the season, not long after we visited for our last away game of the season. So who else better to tell us all about the Toffees once again is Ped from Toffee TV. Thanks for speaking to me once again. How you doing, mate?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad.
Let's start with the Wolves performance at the weekend. Opening weekend, 2-2 on the opening day, 2 goals from Richarlison. I mean, talk us through it. How influential was he, and was the team sort of to be expected?
Yeah, it was a strange performance because we had a pretty poor pre-season, to be honest. We didn't win any games, really. We won our first game 22-0 against a bunch of Austrian farmers. And then after that, we never won another game. So it was hard to know how it was all going to play out. But a lot of the focus was on Wolves because they've come up and they spent a lot of money. But I thought we went there and I thought we were excellent. And really, Richarlison was the only addition who played. Obviously, there's been another 5 signings, but there was only Luca Dean who was on the bench, and the whole way we were set up was completely different. The whole way we approached the game was completely different. When we got the sending off, instead of taking one of the forwards off, we took Gylfi Sigurdsson off, attacking midfielder. So everything changed, and with the outlet of Richarlison on the left and with Walcott on the right, we suddenly got a balanced forward line. And Richarlison gives us something completely different, something that we haven't had for a while, and something that we haven't currently got at the club, and it's that ability to beat people. Technically, he looks quite composed on the ball. He looks like he can go past people quite easily, and he's also a decent finisher as well. So it was a really good performance by him personally and by the team.
It was a cracking little game, and to be honest, I was surprised that Marcus Silva had actually made the substitution so quickly with only sort of 3 minutes to go till half time, that he brought Holgate on and sacrificed Sigurdsson. He was one of your most creative forces before the red card. I
think the way he looked at it was we needed to get the back line sorted straight away. Our back line in the summer has been really, really poor, which has led us to go and buy Jerry Mina and to go and get Kurt Zouma on loan. So we had to get someone in there straight away. There was no way anyone on the pitch could just fill that gap. That had to be sorted. And I think the idea behind it was, if we can get the ball forward early, into the wide positions, then we'll do damage. And to be fair, we did. Okay, at times in the game we didn't have the ball, but you'd expect that from this Wolves side. They've got good players, but I think the way we played the game after that, the way we managed the game, was really, really good. And it was good to see. I mean, I like Gylfi Sigurdsson, but I had no problem them taking him off because it just strengthened the middle of the park without really exposing us to any issues from Wolves. So it was a slight difference in what maybe you'd expect. For me, last season there, someone like Sam Allardyce first thing he would have done was took a Richarlison off or a Walcott off. But we didn't. We just kept on playing the way we did, made it a little bit stronger in the middle of the park, and we did okay.
Yeah, Richarlison scored 2 goals, as we've mentioned, but he came off, he limped off at the Molineux. I mean, what can you tell us about his injury? He was substituted with 5 minutes to go with Lucas Digne, the only other summer transfer that appeared against Wolves.
I've got some bad news for you, mate. It was cramp. Oh. So I fully expect him to play on Saturday and to make his home Premier League debut. And to be fair, the Wolves players had kicked him up and down the pitch all day, and the referee just kept on telling him to get up. I think at the end of the game, he was just with the time remaining, he was just feeling that a little bit, and he'd obviously. I think our pre-season was really tough on the players. A lot of them didn't realise they were going to have to work that hard. I think that probably had a detrimental effect on the results, which obviously don't really matter. It's all about the Premier League. So he was probably just feeling it on the first day. He probably had to run more as well because we only had 10 men. So He should be fine. I think he's back in training. There's already videos of him back in training, so he should be fine for Saturday.
That's not good news for us. But like you say, the pre-seasons are all basically just fitness exercises. Do you think most of the other summer transfers could feature against Saints? Talk us through your team. I mean, so we've seen Yerry Mina come in from nearly 30 million, Lucas Digne nearly 20 million, Zuma arrived from Chelsea on loan, Andre Gomez on loan as well, and Bernard, a free transfer.
Yeah, I mean, it's a free transfer, but, it's not free. I mean, his wages ain't free. No, listen, I don't think that too many of them are going to be involved. Yerry Mina, I think he had all his fitness checks with Everton. I mean, I'm sure all Premier League teams do, but once they get them in, they obviously have rigorous fitness checks to check all their, God knows, muscle density and all these things that we laymen haven't got a clue about. But all that's been done. But he'd only just come back for Barcelona the week before, so he's miles behind in terms of pre-season. Gomez is injured. He's out for, I think, till the international window. Bernard hasn't played for about 4 or 5 months because of the way the Ukrainian league is. So really, I'd only imagine that Zuma may come in for Jagielka, who's obviously suspended. But then again, Holgate might play. But he's had injury problems in pre-season, so I would only think Zuma might come in instead of Holgate, whether depending on the injury situation. Lucas Digne, I think he'll still be on the bench. I think Everton are looking to bring him into the first team gradually and so there's a smooth transition between him and Leighton Baines, so that it's not all done at once. So I imagine it'll be Richarlison starting and maybe Zuma, but I don't think anyone else will be involved apart from Dean on the bench. But so I think don't think we're going to get to see a lot of our new signings till after that international window.
Interesting. Lucas Digne, you've got to say, his eventual replacement for Leighton Baines, who's now the other side of 30.
Well, yeah, he is very much the other side of 30. So, and it's been on a bit of a downward spiral, which obviously is what you'd expect. But I think their plan is there, as I just said, is that he's been brought in from Barcelona. He hasn't played a lot of games in the last 3 years. He's been at PSG, he's been at Roma, he's been at Barcelona, 3 top sides there. But he's only normally averaged maybe, say, 24, 25 games a season at most. And that's an average, so I think the plan will be that he comes in and he takes that spot over time, and I think that'll help him, and I think that'll help Leighton Baines, and I think that's a good way of doing it, rather than just saying, well, Leighton Baines, you're finished, and then this young man comes into the side who's not up to speed with the Premier League. I think there is a plan there. So again, as I say, I wouldn't imagine you'll see him starting the game on Saturday.
I've got an interesting question for you, actually, Ped. The year that Ronald Koeman started as the manager, you spent the best part of 100 million. I mean, this year as well, perhaps even more. Do you think there's even bigger pressure on Everton again to push on and compete in the top rank?
No, honestly, the pressure's not there this year, because the year under Ronald Koeman, or certainly this time last year, and Steve Walsh as well, the director of football, it's so bad the way they messed it up with in terms of fitting those signings together had left us just broken, basically. And Sam Allardyce came in and his football was poor, and yeah, he did a job for us, but the football was really, really poor. And it's funny because when he was sacked and then we brought in Silva, I kept on thinking about Claude Puel at Southampton when he was sacked. That's what kept on going through my mind, actually, with Southampton fans saying how negative he was. And then you look at what happened last year for you guys, and that's all that kept on going through my mind. Have we made the right decision? But sometimes you've just got to make that decision, because if your fans don't enjoy the football they're watching and you really think you can move on, you have to take that chance. And okay, it never worked out for you guys, but I'm hoping it works out for us. But I don't think there are massive expectations on us this season, because number one, it's fixing those problems. Number two, the pre-season really underplayed. No one went from the pre-season thinking we're going to be amazing this season. If anything, a lot of fans were starting to think, oh my God, maybe we've made the wrong decision. But we started positively on Saturday. The players we've brought in seem to fit what we need. There's no one around going, oh, we still need this or we still need that. We feel like we're covered. We know that we're not going to go out and get all the best players in the world, but I think the recruitment we've actually made is quite good. So it'll be a case now for us over the season of, like I've just said about Leighton Baines, it's almost like ushering out the old and bringing in the new, and making that as seamless as possible. Whereas last season when we tried to just get rid of the old very, very quickly and bring in the new without actually having a plan of how it all fitted together, and that led to that season. So I think Silva has identified the issues, but knows that if he tries to do it all at once, it could all end in tears. So it'll be slow, but Everton fans don't mind that. As long as Everton fans know there's a plan and it's going in the right way, we're happy with that. We've had enough in the last few years of all these managers and all the player turnover. We want now to have some consistency on and off the pitch, and hope that the club move forward. And that's and hopefully there'll be some good days doing that. But I think that's how all projects happen now. Manchester City didn't happen overnight, and I'm not saying we're trying to do what Manchester City have done, but what I'm saying is that even the best of the best, things take time. So I'm hoping everything just beds down now and is allowed to just go at its natural pace.
Yeah, and I think we Saints fans agree is that we want some solidity and some consolidation this season. But I think perhaps for both teams last season, it got to the point of no return where we couldn't afford to gamble anymore on the manager, and someone like Mark Hughes, someone like Sam Allardyce would steer the ship. I mean, you got to meet. Did you get to meet Big Sam on deadline day at Sky Sports? Talk us through your conversation.
I never quite got to meet him. Obviously, he was in the Sky Sports studio, and we were down there at Sky Sports doing a little bit for deadline day. And basically, we were put on air it was in his hour, 4 till 5, and we knew Everton were going to make some major signings, but he hadn't at that point really done anything. And we were very eager to get on air and sort of, get on air and just speak, not necessarily have a go at Sam Allardyce, just get on air and just because we were excited about the day. And the reporter, Sky Sports reporter, thrust a microphone in my partner's face, Baz, about finishing above Liverpool. It was just a ridiculous question, really set him up. And I just said, well, I really hope that this season we have a manager who tries to at least beat Liverpool. And obviously with Sam Allardyce in the studio, it didn't go down too well. It was they understood straight away what I was trying to say. So,
and looking ahead, do you think that you have got the team now to finish above Liverpool this season?
You've set me up there.
On live television.
Live television. We will be more competitive. That is what I will say about that question.
You're not going to be so diplomatic.
Well, I'd just like to see a manager send the team on to actually try and beat Liverpool, because that didn't happen last season.
So afterwards, we got to go into the actual Sky Sports studio where they were actually filming. At that point, we were in another building, but we got to go in. And when we went in, as soon as we walked in the door, it was on a break, and Allardyce clocked us straight away. He seen us. I had the same top on I've got now, so you could see the pink straight away. And he clocked us, and he looked directly at us, and you could tell he wasn't happy. So we'd done our job. At the end of the day, we'd done our job, and it's worked out quite well for us. We've a lot of people have found our channel that maybe hadn't found before, so it's worked out quite well.
It was brilliant because I watched the clip, and Baz was just trying so hard not to laugh when they asked him that question.
Yeah, Baz put me up to it. He always does. He stays off quietly on the side, and he just knows that if he lets me, it's like Woody in Toy Story, he just pulls the string, and he just lets me go. So,
all right, let's wrap it up then, Ped. Prediction then for Saturday, 3:00, opening home game for Everton this season. I think for us Saints fans, we'd love to take a point, but we haven't won there in 21 years.
If you'd asked me last week, I'd honestly say this probably would have been a draw, but I do fancy us now. I think that from what I've seen on Saturday with what we've got going forward, I like the look of Richarlison. I think Cenk Tosun, if you feed him the right service, I think he's got a goal in him as well. And I think I just think that you guys, obviously you brought Danny Ings in, you've struggled for goals, and I just think that if we can get the lead on Saturday, I fancy us to take the 3 points. But it's still early days in the Premier League, and I think personally it used to be till that window shut actually, but now that window's gone. But I think the Premier League really gets going after the international window, when everyone's got their players in, everyone's bedded in, everyone's recovered from the World Cup. So I think it'll be a close game. I just think we might just have too much for you guys.
All right, well that's bad news for us though. But do make sure you go check out on Toffee TV. The clips are there somewhere on their Twitter feed and their Facebook page. Do make sure you check it out. It's brilliant. But Ped, big thanks for joining us once again.
Cheers, mate. Always good to be on.
So a big thank you to Ped from Toffee TV for his thoughts this week. Do make sure you go over and check out their channel for all of your Everton needs. The guys over there have done a fantastic job. But that does bring us to an end to this week's episode. I'll also be on the road this week on the coaches. So if you're about, do pop up and say hello. I'll be happy to have a chat. But in the meantime, I might see some of you on the fans forum this Thursday at St Mary's. It'd be interesting to see what the hierarchy have to say. But do leave your comments below, your predictions, your thoughts, anything else in between. Do get in touch with us on the usual social pages. So a big thank you for watching or listening wherever you are. And I'll see you at Goodison Park. Come on, you Saints.